Yeah, so good evening all. Again, we are back with this month meeting. So nice to see you all. So today is 19th December. So we have, so just a moment. Okay. So just before starting the session, I will introduce the ground rules. So basically, you all are aware that while the section goes on, just make sure your microphones are unmuted. Right, so it won't disturb our speaker while he is delivering his speech. And if you have any questions while the speaker continuing the section, please feel free to use the chat box. So at the end of the session, we'll go through the chat box and the speaker can give you the answers on both. And this session is recorded and it will be available in IRSM Qatar branch website, especially in IRSM website, so where you can go and check international branch page. So it will be available over there in few days. So yes, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce our today's speaker. He's none other than Rock Dususe, and he's a certified safety professional, fellowship member of IRSM, a charter member of IOSH. Right, he's well-known person over here in Qatar. He's been delivering a lot of training sessions, and he comes forward always in these meetings to deliver the section. So yeah, so I will hand over the session to Rock, sir. You are the presenter now.
Can you hear me, Deepu?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Rob Tikuna. I'm the presenter for today on HSE management system. Thank you, Deepu, for the humble introduction. We start with the post. It's a very big topic, but it is not sufficient to explain in 1 hour. But I will try my best to do something. The pictures will tell a lot about it. So yes, we talk about it. So first of all, I took to begin with, I took sources of information from ISM, IOSH, HSE, IMA, ISPO, or even ISO. So different competencies, like how it is, what it is done in different association, different way, but all are meaning the same at the end of the day. So just to give you a general idea, right? So these are some of the informations. Now, first of all, why do we need to have, have a competency matrix, basically? We need to see whether we are updated, we are, tuned with time. Now, if you see that there is a lot of changes happening in the world. There is artificial intelligence coming in now. Technology also is changing in terms of usage or viewing. People are training systems also are changing. So we need to also change, otherwise we will be left behind. So basically, we need to be advancing ourselves we need to see how we can bring innovation, add value, or be a solution provider. There are issues, but we need to provide solutions. Very recently, we had COVID-19. It was totally new, and the world did not know about it. And I remember, I used to contact many other people within ISM, just to understand and find out who is doing what. Then there were new MOPH, new regulations, and it was. You need to see the things were going on differently. Compared businesses are happening now, changing are happening in demographic or technological or organizational or even socio-political levels also within countries. There are different new technology legislations coming in. It requires professional interpretation. It needs technical knowledge to understand it and apply it. We need to really be having multiple disciplines in knowledge in science, technology, and even able to handle multicultural team. We need to deal with everyone. HSE needs to deal with right from the topmost boardroom or directors of VPs to the bottom to the workers. And with the recent times, we all know that mental stress or mental psychological issues are also playing a very important role. And then with the new time, after COVID, the flexible working or working from home or remote also has come in. So you must now update yourself, keep yourself updated. ISM is really looking into it that we have to look at long-term goals, strategic wise, financial wise, viability. You may be seeing nowadays uh, the working hours or the task is more, sometimes salaries are less, competitive conditions are there, people are more unemployed. So financially, viability is required, operational preparedness is required to be multi-skilled. Customers are requiring more. We have to look at all angles. Customers are requiring more. Even our clients, we need cheaper products. So customers seek something expertise or best thing. Employees are wanting also more. Society is wanting more. The governments are expected. Uh, we all know how in COVID there were new things put on to HSE. So regulators are also requiring a lot from HSE. Nowadays, even cyber attacks are also happening. Mostly, we need to keep ourselves updated with evaluating or communicating or addressing or one thing good about ISL, one very good thing about it, then they are saying very clearly, it's known everywhere, but they are explicitly saying here in ISM, everyone is responsible for managing and taking risk and should have the right skills to be able to do so. So I tell you, right, most sometimes we think, we need the top people to give us right direction. But sometimes we also know very truly that the people who get injured are the bottom people. So we need to take a total view and try to manage everybody there. We need to look at business continuity, crisis management, emergency planning, environmental issues are at its peak. You will say the environmental issues, especially the global warming and all the new regulations or controls are there. We need to see there is a proper security, quality, and we should keep everybody in the right decision. It's a challenging thing to decide about competency. So let me start by saying what is competency? There are lots of definitions out there. So one of the definition or the known thing is we take three key words. We say knowledge, experience. We need to look at the knowledge and understanding. We need to look at the skills. The skills are more of practical things and thinking, immediate thinking, and they are more on generic and specific two types, right? So some skills are generic, which everybody should have, but some skills are specific, which are like technically required to perform your work safely. So there are two types of skills also. Need to have the right experience, the ability to undertake your responsibilities and to perform your activities in a recognized standard on a regular basis. This is very important. Everybody does work, but it is important whether we meet our work requirements are up to a recognized standard or not. And they are not, like once in a, like, blue moon or something. They are done on a regular basis. So that is what is competency. ISO defines also the key words education, training, skills, and experience. Then there is what are skills actually? Skills are described like acquired skills, what somebody needs to be able to do. It is about the ability to do. You can have generic skills and you can have specific skills. Skills are time management, teamwork, some of the examples, problem solving or communication. The specific skills are the ones which you need to do your job, which is assigned to you as your responsibility, which comes within your role. So now we need to look at what is a framework, a competency framework. Competency framework is nothing but putting all what you think or you have in your mind into one frame in a structured way. So the competency framework sets some standards, expectations about the skill, knowledge, behavior. Even it describes the skills, how it is to be done, which job roles needs to be done, how it should be consistent, as we told you, to perform the job safely. This will help you in the first. We must start by identifying what are the skills. This helps you even in your recruitment. In also now, when I mean recruitment, means not only HR. I also mean by recruitment that we must be ready for interviews. So if we are prepared for interviews, we need to have our understanding of the competency metrics so that we can pass out interviews what the HR wants and how we need to meet certain performance management or we need to even have our planning about it. Now, first thing, whenever we want competency framework, we need to look at first. We need to form a team where experts are used, where experts are, when we are talking about the high level structure, the experts should be able to understand what is required for any organization. Now, when we mean organization means it depends on two things. One is something new change or the strategic view for long term. So there are two. You can look at short term and long term. So when we look at the short term, any new course or new training or new skill is required, we can look at whom and how and at what level it should be trained. When it is at the organization level for long term, we need to assess that also. So we need to assess how each employee should be assessed for it. Now, when we say each employee means like ISMN said, every employee is required to be competent and responsible for managing the risks. So we need to look at what are the risks that that employee with his role and responsibility brings to the organization. So we must assess each employee. We have to look at this has to be done by the immediate supervisor because the one who is assigning the task. So immediate supervisor should know what ISO 45 talks about, the needs and expectation, context of the organization. In terms of your business, in terms of your organization, what you expect from each worker, what are the needs and what are your expectations from that person. Even this helps for trainers to, or by training these competency skills, to decide the scope or decide the contents or the models for the training. Otherwise, it is not effective. For the organization also benefits. Once the organization is, taking on the decision to make a competency matrix, and improve or upgrade their workforce, which is one of the main part of the organization, which brings like the increases the overall performance of an organization. You need to once you do that, you will benefit by understanding the gaps what are there. There is a well-known saying. Uh, Nobody is having everything. It's not possible humanly also, practically also. So what we need to know is that we normally get what is the best among the rest, and then once we get that person, we need to identify the gaps, the ones how much you have and what you don't have. So identifying the skill gaps, then there are some gaps skills which are not up to a standard, so it needs to increase the level of that skills. There must be, you should have these skills to improve the quality, manage the risk, and even make some changes in your organization if you want the skills. It gives, when you are deciding the competency, it tells you the what level you want to reach. If you can go to a benchmark level, you can decide where you wish to go. It helps in improving the recruitments, and that in other words also reduction in terminations. It is also there is cost of boarding which is reduced, or the training needs like are there which will be supported to make them to a professional level. It improves the team overall, the whole workforce. So automatically it improves the culture. It motivates workforce because they are all in a strong team. They are enjoying or loving or wanting to do something as a team. Individually, it's very difficult. So team works. What happens to the organization? It increases its resilience, and its value also is increasing. We need to look at it even at a operational level. Uh, at the operational level also, there are, you can look at, you will come to know the job description. So, competency matrix will decide that when you are making that, it will decide the job description. It helps you in guiding to write the job description. Simply what you need to do is understand what are the activities you expect, the expectations from a worker. Once you know the expectation, then you can do job descriptions, write down properly, write down specifications of a person, what he is expected to have. You can have a proper questioning at the interview. You can even do proper selection. Very, very important is what we all HSE do is normally HSE induction. This is very important. It adds to the induction also. Sometimes, there is no connection between appraiser and the job that you are doing. Here, if you have a competency matrix, you will be able to put a proper appraisal system also, where the person is lacking, where the person is moving, how much did he move or progress or improve himself. So all these, like, it will also tell you what training needs to be done. Like, you cannot go on just giving trainings, and the trainings are to be effective. It should be the right trainings, and the trainings to the right people. So this all it comes under the training need analysis, where each person needs to be analyzed, and then we need to come to a conclusion where what are the needs for the each individual, the trainings that need to be given, so that there is a proper development of the individual, and in the long run to the organization also. When we look at the strategic level to the organization's long-term goals, we will come to know that it has also, it will assist in shaping and defining the purpose, vision, and culture. This is, I told you, in the long term goal, the vision, the culture, and the purpose. You cannot bring a change in culture, but the top industries or companies which are there, fortune companies, you will come to know they have a beautiful culture. It provides a clear focus for change. Your resilience will be so good for the organization that you can bring about changes because it will hardly matter. You are already having the competition with you. It motivates, you have a proper talent at your disposal, and you can go and do benchmarkings also. One of the process to go about is like any other process, we need to have, first of all, a proper policy, a procedure for, making a competency matrix. It should be, a group of experts come together and then they decide how to go about, and it's a policy is made. Once a policy is made, then we next step is to determine the minimum requirement for each role, and this should be decided by the functional department level, the minimum requirement for, and final, we need to add, like ISO 45 says in clause 8, you should add even emergency preparedness for each individual. Once you have this, this is your yardstick for recruiting people. So remember, even your recruitment will not be effective if you don't have this thing in front of you. You will come to know what you need and whether that person is having or not. Once you know about it, when you decide to recruit a person, you might find that a person does not have everything. Maybe the person has got 8 out of 10, or maybe a person 8 out of 10 is not willing to join you. So you take a person with 7 out of 10. So you then again decide to, you take a gap of 3 then instead of 2. Or maybe the salary is not accepted by him, or the timing or something. So whatever you decide, the best among the rest, you decide to take someone with certain gaps. Whenever you take the assess the kind of thing, you will find that you need to maintain and develop the train. You recruit a team, then you find the gaps. Once you find the gaps, automatically you need to go to the next level of developing them or training those gaps. If you are working with the same person without developing that person, there is a well-known saying: you do the same thing the same way, you get same results. You need to go and think of what changes needs to be done, what training needs to be given. Then once you do that training, you need to assess that, because it's not only training, it's the effectiveness of the training and the right attitude, or behavior, or many other factors which you have to see. You need to, it's an ongoing process between assessing and training. Once you get this and you pass through these 2 steps, and you are satisfied, then you can even promote or reward, or sign in the new, gain ownership by having a commitment. And yes, reward should be there, or it need not be exactly clear, but yes, you need to have a plan in your policy itself, how you are going to do, what you are going to do. Appraisal plays a very important role here, and then you can go. Then once you know at what level your person is, you can even go to the next level for continual development. So this is how the whole process moves. Uh, you need to maintain records in this. So once you go through these 8 processes, what you need to do is, as I told you, the main three for competency matrix is, like, this is only for HSE. For HSE, what you need to do is, there are departments that need to be kept in mind for managing the HSE thing. So what we should do is, we have to look at what each department is going to do. So the HR, this document of competency is with HR, but all departments need to support HR. It's not same as what we can't do everything, HR also can't do everything. So HR needs the support of HSC department. So you will see that the next step is that they will be assigning the competency. Who will be doing it? It will be a joint by both the, whichever is the department that requires to recruit, the processing department and the HSC department for HSC competency. Same way, maybe for IT, or maybe for sales or marketing, but there should be a proper combination of 2 departments working to decide what it is, because it's not possible for one person or one department to know. this is where RSM is very clear. Every department or every individual should be able to manage. This is just for defining the competency. Then once it is defined and agreed by HR and the document is now HR's document, then it should be properly assessed jointly again by both the departments, that we said this person should have maybe level 3. We have to divide, put it in levels also. So if we say it is level 3, then we should assess whether that person is at level 3. So then, or level 4 or level 2 or whichever. So what we need to do is, again, both the departments need to assess and come to a level where to understand what is the gap. Once we know what is the gap, then you need to train them, So in those gaps and all. So assign the training department or trainer, or you can recruit a trainer internally or outsource it from somebody or manage the trainings. This is very essential. Without trainings, you cannot develop or grow. Each person will remain where he is. He will generally, no person wants to hurt himself. Just lack of knowledge or lack of training is what makes a big difference here. So we need to train them, and once they know about it, then finally we need to look at whether the training is department is able to support and they conduct the training. And once the training is done, full monitoring has to be done. So this is a complete flow of how the system works. So there is the ownership is with HR department. Here, if you see, then the assigned the competency level should be supported by department and the HSE department. Then there should be assessment of the individual competency should be done jointly. Then there should be support from the HSE, and the training should be conducted by the training department. Both should do it. HSE here requires to decide the module or the expectation in from the training. It's like, not the third party cannot decide what is the requirement of the training. The internal HSE department should know what is the requirement. So they should review or evaluate or check whether the requirements are being met by the trainer. And then you can even implement the training with the training department and the the employee department needs to send the people for training, and then they need to evaluate at the end with HR whether it is effective or not. So these are the departments. This is a simple chart where you can look at different positions and different trainings. This is like the minimum requirement. If you see here, basic induction is required by all. Then there will be permit to work required by few people, not all. Now remember, these are not the individual; these are the roles that is being played. You have to decide for each role, and once you have the minimum for maybe the shift fitter, you need all this. Then you need to train this shift fitter for all these courses. So there will be risk. If you notice, risk assessment also is required by all the people. ISM is very clear, and even ISO 45. If each worker who is working in whatever task is doing, he must be able to. In fact, there should be participation and consultation also in the risk assessment. So you see the induction and the risk assessment, and there is one more thing that will be the emergency preparedness. So these are the things which are required by all. Rest can be decided by each individual, and you can go from the director up to the lowest level assistant. You can decide on how you want to decide the minimum requirement. I saw a good reference in the
What are you
YouTube.
doing?
It is talking about, if you see www.ability6.com, it is explaining very well how they are looking, and out of, the person is having assessment 2 out of, or whatever the figure out of a benchmarking total. It is a very good thing. It will take time to discuss here, but you can watch this and you will come to know, how to make a proper matrix over here. You can, there is another way. This is about an overall. The simplest way is to also decide on each role. Suppose now it's the operational manager. If you are deciding on the operational manager, you must decide all the tasks or the job description, what we call, or the, what is expected to perform. And based on that, you need to see what training is required for them in terms of HSE and the level that is there. This level is to implement it. How urgent it is required to be implemented. The level, of course, is different. Some people may require level 1 level, the lowest, and some may require expert level 4. So you can divide it into 4 parts. You can have a clear objectives and who will do it, internal or external. You can decide about it. This is a very good photograph, which I feel it talks a million words or 1,000 words. Training is the most important part for growing your business. Without training, you are struggling. Each worker is, and you will know this thing. I'm sure all of you know that. If you send the right person to do a job, any of your subordinates whom you trust, the word is called trust. If you trust him and you send him to do a job, you are, after the training, you are relaxed because you know that person knows how to do the job and the job is going as per the expectation. So, but you push a person to go and he's not trained, he will be there and you will be also at unease, struggling, and you may be getting surprises also, something happening sometimes at some high risk, or it can go to the extent of your business going zero. We know about Piper. Piper was the best at that time, and it was the biggest business and all, and it went underwater and it went zero. So you can understand how it is important and all. So you need to look at future things. Training is important. Training is the backbone actually. And training on the gaps, not training for everything.
Hey, no.
So you need to train on to do the job safely and to an acceptable standard. Acceptable standard means to the level that is required. You can decide level 1 to level 4, and each person should be trained. It's not just giving the training. To see that it is to the acceptable standard, the person should understand the job. He should be training to the standard, and he should be able to do the job right for the first time. Next comes what are the trainings?
A double high
Hello.
RSA.
Wahid, I can hear some voice. Wahid, okay. When you go to talk about what the training should include, we should train the people even on their own operational procedures first, because I know for fact, Mr. Wahid,
No,
can
this one
Mr.
he's member. If you are a member, so they will be sending you.
Wahid,
So how much?
My Irish actually is expert actually.
So you didn't renew.
Mr. Wahid,
Right.
can you?
Bro.
Hello.
You have already MIRS.
Mr. Wahid, can you
Okay.
mute yourself, please? Okay. Now regarding the this trainings, you need to start with your own activity. If you don't know your own operating activity, it becomes, the risk is more high. So you should know your operating procedures. You should know abnormal security procedures, temporary procedures. You should look at also emergency procedures. You have to look at sometimes startup, shutdown, loading, unloading, or any process change. All these processes should be also trained first and foremost. Then comes like the HSE training process. Training should be given to all, at all functions, all departments, and at all levels, depending on what is required by them. What is your expectation? That's why we look at expectations. What happens in competency? People fall into one of these 4 categories. The best is, right? When there is a person who is in the most risky person, he's like, unconscious and he's incompetent also. So he, like, suppose he's drunk or he's, he doesn't know and he's not knowing also, not competent and not within himself also. He can be doing the biggest mistakes. Then there can be persons who are conscious and he is incompetent. At least he might ask or he might try to misunderstand. So errors are possible, but he is the second most dangerous person. But there is a person who is, conscious and competent. He does things very right most of the time. And there is a person who is competent, and even when he's unconscious, he's competent. Means, there, if you must have seen driving, you are talking also and driving, because you know the thing in and out, competency. Even in your unconscious state also, you are very competent. So this is one way you fall under which category you come under. You need to learn from the other side where learnings also are required for when it comes to training. So we need to look at how people learn the most. So I tell people, some of them when I give training, I tell that same person, now you give training to others. So you can get, teaching others will give you 90% like, learning. So you need to research. You need to, like for me, now to train this, this was a requirement in my own organization, and I really found that it is one of the challenging things. So research is required, and like I was told also by Ayush to look into the competency part of it. So I said, let me look at it. This and really, you need to be competent. You need to know everything about all the requirements. There are different. How do you learn also? So different learning techniques. You can go into a different mechanism of how you ask questions or how do you learn or how do you talk or communicate. So, you should remember it, you should understand it in the right way, apply it, and then when you apply, see the check part, the do part, plan, the do, the check part. Then when you're checking, analyzing, you come to know where you are, then you increase it to your next level and improve yourself. When it comes to ISM, like I told you, ISM is very clear for the competency framework. It says it is required. It's a core skill. It is core means it is a must. It is at known, should be known to all. The word core means that. So it is required by all jobs, all roles, all responsibilities. So everyone is supposed to manage a risk. It is not like, only the HSE has to look at it. So everybody should manage the risk. Risk are either threats or opportunities. So usually they are not always negative. You can improve yourself. So it can be opportunities also for improvement. You will find that, suddenly what was a problem before is not a problem anymore. So there is no one person or function can do it, like, you should work in teams, or you need to collaborate with other functions or other groups, and you individual should grow and organization will grow. So this is how it is described. Then we go to benefits. We will be able to manage risk. We will be able to have a consistent approach to give you good quality, innovation, performance, organization resilience. Uh, Everyone be able to take right decisions, uh, capabilities to communicate and act on the risk also. Uh, we need to support HR teams to do the job role. The job roles require HSC in each and every role also. Then understand the professional development needs of in when you go to the higher level to make it into level form. You need to integrate it in part of a business. Risk is not self-alone. Somebody said once, that HSE should look after HSE. I said, no, each individual should look after. When you drive a car, you need to see that you drive as well as drive it safely. You can't say, I need an HSE sitting next to me to tell me when should I accelerate or when should I put the brake or when should I slow down, or when should I, give the communications rights or whatever. So it should be part of the whole system. And one important thing is it also improves the progress. If you are in the HSE, everyone, I myself is an example. And most of them, I'm sure, most of the people risk HSE or safety has evolved, and it is not a very old thing. It has evolved where this generation is picked it up in the middle, but you find next some other generation in future where it will be part of the syllabus. I'm sure of that. So it is going to be now many youngsters also go into safety. Uh, there are different structures in ISM. There is a structure for putting it into three parts: technical risk, but competency, business opportunity, competency, and leadership behavior. So basically, it is requiring like what is required by all the behavior part, what is the technical part, or that is the knowledge or the functional part to do your job, and the business part to take good decisions making. So these are the three levels we need to look at, and there is you have to see that the required of level of competency when you decide level 1, 2, 3, 4. It depends on what role you are giving. There is no, even within the same industry, it may be different. Or maybe both are in the construction industry, but competency will be different because it depends on what role you are playing, which seniority level you are, what responsibilities are assigned to you, what experience you carry, and what are the practices that is being followed. And so, how you are going to do is going to be entirely and different. For there is no copy paste here. The organization needs to decide on their own competency. The areas of competence will be technical. When we say technical, means this is purely technical, means what functional, what needs to be done to perform your normal job. And for that, you need to understand your organization context. Context means internal and external. ISO 45 comes into this role. The role, like across the organization, how it is within internally, how you're managing it. Then the long-term goals or the strategy. This strategy needs to have effective objectives. Then you need to have policies and procedures in place. You need to keep always change management, because there is nothing that will be standardized. So you need to manage changes. You need to manage different people, interested parties. It can be, you have to manage them, collaborate with them, motivate them, work with them to have the overall goal of the organization. You need to have data management also, very important this is, because data gives you trends and analysis. Trends and analysis helps you to decide and make good decisions. So we can take good decisions also in daily things. Then we need to look at the reporting also, how we manage reporting. Then we need to look at Dennis. Dennis, can you mute please?
Yeah, just a moment.
Then there is the leadership behavior. This category comes under leadership behavior, means it comes under what is core or which is generally required by everybody. So you need to look at behaviors by everybody, and of course everybody means it also goes higher up to with the higher people getting the more leadership. Leadership is everywhere, but at the higher level, it is a more little advanced leadership. So you need, even a supervisor needs to influence people, encourage or persuade people, or he should even have understand emotions, recognizing or valuing, like look at different perspectives or inputs. He needs to work in teams, even the smallest supervisor up to the biggest level, or even a worker. So collaboration, communication is so very important. I believe it's one of the main things, communication. Then you need to look at when there are changes, there is a change it talks about innovation. So innovation means where you need to think differently to progress or improve differently. Sometimes there is one of the leadership and all is required is to be ethical, accept ownership or trust. People should trust, or you should be true to yourself. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's everybody's together. It's decided. So you need to have consultations also. You should work as a team and accept and be true to yourself. You should be even able to know what is to achieve, how to go to achieve your goal, and you should go, one by one, step by step, one day at a time, one model at a time, one activity at a time. Then there is the business competency. Basically, it is the governance part of it. This is required by the people in the decision making, where you need to govern properly, manage account, look at the budgets financially also. Nothing works without having a budget. The entire organization has a budget. Each department or function has a budget. We need to work within the budget. We need to provide the right resources and manage it effectively, getting optimization, optimum outputs also. You just to look at what nowadays to expand businesses, you have to look outside also your business. They are called business risk. ISO 31000 is talking very clear. You need to look at business risk other than normal risk of hazard identification, risk assessment, or environmental risk. You need to meet all legal requirements, because that is the minimum. I always believe legal is mostly the bare minimum requirement, and you need to live to that or achieve that minimum thing. Yeah, at times it may be very difficult to achieve if it is not, but those are very exceptional cases. Most of the time, legal laws are made for minimum requirement. Then we need to look at how, in business, we need to look at our supply chain also. We need to look at procurement as well as the distribution side. The upfront and you need to look at the client levels also. So you need to look at risk. You can have a risk by even the supplier level, or you can have it even at the partnership, like how you manage and all. So this is all the different areas of risk by RSM. IOS has also a little bit different. I won't go in detail about it, just to touch a little bit that it is also something same. It has the laws, influence. You can see this. It has also got, they have a reasons why there is there is, we need, before we were talking only about, health, hygiene, environment, quality, but now we need to go into more detail about sustainability, human capital, corporate social responsibilities. We need to look at how we are going to improve in overall levels. Then we go to why do we need to give trainings? First, whenever we want to give training, we need to understand what job is being done. Same to decide the competency matrix. For that, you need to understand the qualification, the knowledge, skill, ability, and then you need to look at how you are going to teach them the basic things to solve problems, handle things. It may be, you don't need high level maths. It may be just basic, or you need to give them an orientation or some, HSE best practices, safe methods of working systems and behaviors. You should, of course, match it to your strategic goal or mission statement. When you decide on this, what is relevant, you will get to know all the requirements. I will share with you one now, before we go. I made one small, just try to bring what I realized is that when you are trying to do a competency, the first challenge comes is what are the things that should be searched. It's very difficult to get all the items in one place, all the training things required to be having it in a one place. So that is a big challenge. And then next challenge is the level that is required by all. So the level is to be considered also, how we are going to do the level. Then we need to decide how we train also. So we just touch upon some of the things, right? Now there is, if you go to see, it's broadly divided. This is a list which will be, working out into what percentage you want to give and how you want to give, how you want to use it for recruitment. You need to work on this. So first thing is simply put a yes or no by the self-assessment. So each person can know where they are. Right now, this is supposed to be having everything from the director level to the worker level. We can cut out what we don't want or not suitable. But suppose this you can consider this for HSE officer, 12th standard or some university 3 years. This is the qualification level. I put it into 3 categories: qualification, education, or professional knowledge. IGC, which can be or managing safely or something invigilated, or then environment certificate, because many people are calling themselves HSC officer. They are not E officer. They miss the environment certificate. So I can call them OHS or only safety officer. If they are to be called HSC officer, environment certificate should be there. Some guide IOS membership should be there. Trainer requirement is to be there. Sometimes if he's in a training level, then you can have an assessment tool. Training, HSC people normally requires driving license if they are into different sites or different places, or not required. The technical skills are where the person needs to perform his work, the day-to-day work. You can talk about it at like from a managerial level. You should know how to write documents, or read sources of information, and to generate documents can be starting from manuals or standards or policies, procedures, processes, systems, programs, forms. These all need to be made by a manager. So they must be knowing. You should maintain the records, update them wherever required, as and when with legislation changes or anything. Make work instructions or even setting objectives. Then the manager must be able to do research and all. Like in COVID-19, most of the time the managers had to do the research because nobody knew about what is expected, what is coming. Another big challenge is coming is for HSEs to manage the legal thing. I consider this very important because legally, if you don't know, you interpret wrong, you will find that many people request others to get a clear interpretation, because interpretation of the law is very important. It can need this links to ISO 45 for needs and expectations. You need to understand like QCS 2014 as of now, but this is a requirement. It is a regulation, but it is required, and it is the basis on which decisions are made. You need to know what are the license required for a person, or what are the certifications, certain first aid or warden, or fire or image or welding, or crane operation, forklift operations. You need to know that. You need to even able to write or raise with authorities on legal matters. You must be able to advise, guide, and support. For this is really a challenging thing about legal. You need to be able to govern. When you say govern means you should know how the structure works and how you balance and manage everybody. Uh, when we say balancing everybody, stakeholder, customers, suppliers, financiers, governments, and you have to look into each in accountability, transparency, all these factors also in mind. You need to be, when we say HSE, at least you should know the 14 and 45 ISO standards. Quality supports all, it's the basics of all. So it is very good to have this ISO requirements, read or internal audit. Then this is about HSE performances. If you can't measure, you can't manage it. Remember one thing. One of my previous manager told this thing, quote, I will remember it. It says, means if you can't measure, you don't know where you are and where you need to go. So you need to put key performance indicators. You need to have, in today's world, auditing skills. There are lots in auditing skills. Then there is need to go on developing long-term strategies and innovations and improvements, not be satisfied where you are. You need to see that there is consistency in your results. That is the part only of quality management. Then you need to look at risk management. It is not only the hazard and risk, but risk and opportunity or business risk. You can talk about the HIRA, the risk assessment, risk identification, risk assessment, analysis, the prioritization, because budget is very important and you need to manage your budget, you need to manage your risk, and you cannot make risk zero. There is no possibility of making any risk. There is no perfect place also with zero risk. So you need to prioritize your budget and your risk and manage all the things. You need to control the risk and all with the resources, monitor it in a complete cycle, plan to check out, go right through it. Then you look at how you manage integrate the risk with all other risks. You look at how the overall organizations is functioning or well-being of this. Look at if there is a situation which can come anytime unexpected, the business should continue, and those things, emergency preparedness or business continuity or crisis management, all these things have to be considered to be managed. Then you have to look at environmental aspect impact because HSE contains E part. You should know what are your significant aspects, and you should also do very effective inspections. But when I say inspections, it is not just going out. Like I used to say, HSE inspections are, common sense. And even if you send a watchman to go around, take a walk, he will be able to tell you common things between yes and no. What is required from HSE officers is inspection of knowing the things, what they see, look at detailed observations and find out what are the corrective actions or what are the corrections to be taken, not just seen and understood. And for that, you need a holistic overall view. Yes, we need to manage risk because, as I said, there is nothing called zero risk. Incidents will happen. How do you manage the risk? How do you investigate the risk? How do you consider reporting? And you need to look at legal, especially when reporting. You need to look at how do you report? What do you report? Most of the time, they count on you as HSC. The departments count on you that you are going to explain or make the report properly. We need to find out in investigation the cost part of it so that it gives a proper influencing factor to the top management to invest or to take appropriate actions. Then there is a very important factor which is like the operational support. HSC is plays the three key roles: advise, guide, and support. When I talk about support, it is very, very important that you work as a team. You don't lead the team. That is the reason why we need to support the team. For that, we need to look at how the functional processes are there. We need to decide HSC competency for each function with the HR, train or provide them, and also make the right forms, all these things for procedures, emergency preparedness. Then look at uh, how the security system works, also how the contractor, also those who come in are trained properly. We need to have competency metrics for each contractor also, each contractor employee also. So then we need to look at traffic vehicle. These are all supporting roles which is required to work with the department operations. Then there is culture, which is at a higher level by the decision-making bodies, how they decide the culture part. They understand where the weak points are, the vulnerable worker or the the risky activities. You need to look at what here talks about significant issues or welfare. You need to look at welfare part, well-being part. So these are the challenges of today's world, where it's part of HSC. You need to look at how you will be advising properly. Uh, in any of the this membership grades, it is very clear. It talks about that if you are not competent, you say no to and don't give advice. Request for external consultancy. So I remember, if somebody will tell me about radiation, I said, yes, I don't know about much radiation. What I know is just awareness level, and you should consult a radiation officer or radiation expert. So like this, you need to always not feel ashamed to ask for consultancy or external help or support. You need to manage the contractors. You should look at changes in the workplace which are happening, which can bring about uh, high risks at certain times. This is at the, not at the manager's level, but even at director, HSE director level or HSE VP level or something. When they look into corporate level, human capital or community level, financial or ethical level. So this is at a higher level. Then comes this is one of the very important things where you need to understand what is required, in the training. When you are saying each role, against each role, you have to decide which trainings are required. And then the next comes the level. But the challenge is to know induction is required by everybody. Orientation is another thing which how it is being done totally. Uh, the person at, the organizational level, department level, worker level. So orientation also should be done properly. Risks, there is even the risk assessment should be done to everybody. These like emergency should be done to everybody. Each supervisor must be very competent. You need to look at some schools. There will be different extra things which are required, or lifting activities. You need to have a lot of lifting. It's a whole new big topic. But you need to have all the possibilities: excavation, slip and trip, work at height, fall protection, MEWP, or scaffolding, fire, drugs, alcohol, workplace. In emergency, you have all the things, including, utility or firefighting or fire warden or security or spill kit, mask, barricading, breathing apparatus, signages, housekeeping. You need to manage the materials also, how they are stored. They can create hazards. So you need to look at the supply chain, the storage, the transportation, the fuel, the waste of all the materials. When it comes to procurement, you need to look at procure HSE. It plays a role in even procurement, where you need to select whether it is appropriate safety equipments, management of equipments, or how it is being done. Electrical safety is one. Safety, you can talk about safe system of work, like starting with the all through, like, handover, permit to work, load to toolbox stock, PPE, machine and equipment safety. It includes the process maintaining and testing and inspection of the equipment, a proper worker, the proper procedure. So everything in safe system of work. Then there is confined space, AGT, ventilation, or there is lone worker, mothers or disabled workers, or, food safety, process safety, environmental awareness trainings also can be there. Waste management, legal issues are there. We need to look at disposal. There is behavior-based safety into looking into behavior part of it. You can look at different leaks, pipe, cost, safety. In cost, chemicals, you have to look at many things about how you manage safety data sheet. That's the whole thing. Heat stress, legal requirement. You have to look at workplace environment also, office safety, psychological or mental recent things there. Especially it is, it is in. It's just, there are some articles on how workers in construction are really under a lot of mental health or psychological issues and all. Economic issues are there, but then there is related to asbestos, manual handling, noise. You can have any biological or COVID or illumination issues, radiation, Legionella, health survey. So these are all the type of trainings that you need to have, like a menu. You should know which one to tick and how to go about. Then these are the common ones, which higher level will have higher level, and the lower level persons will have lower. So strategies for the higher level, directions and contacts and diversity. These are the higher level at the director level and the VP level. Stakeholder management, influencing knowledge management or learning. Now, learning is for the organization at the director level, where a proper CPD and the latest things that are there in the work should be known and imparted or trained or informed to everybody. Then there are plannings also, where we go at the middle management level, which talks about implementation, like financial management, data analysis, or decision making. This is for the middle management, and then you can have each head of functions which look at functional management. They can manage it in different ways. Supervisor at the lower level, they should be having visible leadership. They should be with the people, discuss with them, understand them, and be approachable to them. It forms teamwork. They can manage projects, manage changes, and clear out any conflicts and wherever required. One of the important things is also confidentiality within the top management, and then there are some. You should look at top management decides the roles and responsibilities, the resources, allocation of resources, and optimization. And the third category is the behavior skills or the soft skills. You need to see that you work as a team. It's like no Superman or Batman or Rambo business. It is working as a team. You must be able to advise and able to even negotiate or deal with the situation. Come to conclusions. There are individual personal accountabilities, personal motivation, which only individual can tell. One of the things very important is what really I like about it, the SWOT analysis. Each person must do a SWOT analysis about their strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Each individual, let it be all HSC person, because everybody has certain strength, everybody has certain weakness, and everybody has opportunities to improve, and everybody has some threats to be managed properly. So we need to look at all these SWOT analysis. You will come to know that you don't know many things. This is one of the key things which makes any person humble. That even if he knows a lot, he doesn't know also a lot. So he needs to understand that there is room for improvement, and you need to look at. If you have a menu and you know what you don't know, then you can start learning and improving or taking one thing at a time. So you need to prioritize which one and what and how. You should look at which gives you best benefits and how it works, and you should be able to take and resolve all the hurdles that come with. You should look at how you can become more innovative and creative with more knowledge and understanding. Communication skills, one key word is reframe. Reframe means do not talk immediately. You need to think, pause, make the sentence in a different way and frame it differently and see. One common sentence over here is like, we lost by 5%. Can be said like we achieved 95%. So you look at the positive, like half glass full is better than half glass empty. So what we need to look at is positive and move positive or speak positive. So you can influence people better. You need to be talking about HSC, walk the talk, inspire people. You need to give them instant feedback so that people are, appreciating, and delay in feedback is of not much value. You must listen to people so that you are able to talk, not just reply, listen for reply. Then understand the people with empathy. You must be a good talker. HSC competency requires public speaking. I know sometimes I go in the construction site, out of 5 HSC officers, only one is able to speak. So no, everybody should be able to speak and take charge. So public speaking is so very important. It's a part of communication. You must be able to brief, and when it is briefing or public speaking, it is not. It should be in a proper order. It should not be, like it should know where to start and where to end, and how to achieve what you intend to achieve. So ISO 45 says intended results. So you need to work on that. Then it's about, you need to have good proficiency in your languages also. Language skills are very important. You need to have proper documentation and recording. You need to deal a little different with authorities. Communication with authorities is a little high level skill. It requires some practice. It requires a lot of, first of all, it requires legal knowledge. Because only when you know legal knowledge, you know what is black and white and gray. Or you might end up putting gray and then opening up new doors and opening venues for more complication. So your word should be, there is no perfect communication, but you should know how to write to authorities. Black should be black, white should be white. You should know the laws first to deal with liaising with the authorities. You should report properly. Reporting writing skills are very important. There are technical reports also. Even writing of NCRs also are very challenging at times. You need to see that corrective actions are made properly. That is again a big challenge to avoid reoccurrences. You need to have computer skills for that. Many people struggle with even computer skills, basics, layouts or presenting or everything. Then there are presentation skills. This is to test your nerves. You may have the best presentation, PPT, but if you can't present it, it makes a difference between two people. Here I tell people, like, those who go for the Toastmasters, they are really good at presentation. You can learn a lot from their Toastmasters. Presentation skills are a different thing. You may have the best presentation PPT, but you may not be able to present it in the right way. Then you need to have need to deal with people, meet at meetings and committee, HSE meetings and committees. You may find some complicated questions thrown out to you. You should come out of it. This is again an art. You need to first know yourself, all the knowledge, then only half knowledge will not take you anywhere. You will see that you come to know that you cannot attend meetings because you can't give solutions. So you need to have your basics very well. You need to deal with a lot of people: supervisor, worker, team, line manager, regulator, client, executive seniors, or even executive leadership or CEOs. And all. You need to deal with them. You need to able to express yourself rather. So very important that is. Again, it takes a targeted next higher level. Then there is interpersonal skills where it is you who self-survive by this. You must have, they are saying, risk is equated to the time and cost, time and effort. So you need to look at a commercial mindset. You can't be, impractical. Then you must have empathy. You must say what you say and agree to be honest. You must be able to be a good coach and a mentor also. Management and engaging in. So there are a lot. For that you need promotions, management skills, time management, event everything. You need to look at customers also. Remember, customer doesn't mean outside customer, even your internal customer. You need to know their expectations and give them what they want and how they want. So each one somebody may require something more important than another department, which does not require the same thing, but some require another thing. So you need to give them the right things at the right time, and this helps you to develop a good relationship. You need to go into tendering also. You need to tendering is also a different ball game actually. I was not doing this part of it, but I picked it up. There's nothing that cannot be learned. So you need to understand tendering, how to tender and put and get biddings, and so then it's all about experience, age, using of different softwares. Again, is a challenge. You need to look at age and whom do you report to, and also practical physical fitness. So then you put a rating for yourself and finally give a total score and see where the areas need to be improved and select a person. So this type of a menu will help you not only to recruit, because it will tell you what is the gaps that the person whom you are recruiting is having, so that the person is trained. Many a times the budget is not there for the training, then it's of no use, because if you don't train them, like I said before, you do the same thing the same way, you get same results. You need to go think differently. You need to train people. A person who knows something will never do the same thing. His decision-making capability will change. So you need to improve the training skills, and then you need to make proper policies and procedures and systems. And developing of system takes years. I remember DuPont once, means in Qatar State, I didn't know that time so much. So they said it takes 3 years. Wow, I said 3 years, what they are talking about. But when each thing that they were doing, it takes time. You cannot focus everything on one thing. Yes, one topic you can do it in some months, but if you want to do an overall full improvement, it is a long term. So take one day at a time, and not one, think and expect everything in the shortcut. With this, I'm open to questions. I hope I was able to bring out the maximum what I could bring. Now I'm open to questions. I know it may be late. I didn't see the timing. Deepu?
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, Reese, yes.
Yeah, thank you. That was such an informative lecture and presentation. I'm pleased that it was recorded because, when it's a bit quiet, I was listening it to drive while I was driving home. So I'm pleased that it's recorded, and I'll go through the presentation again and read it. But no, very interested. Definitely a different stance on competency, leadership, etc. So no, I thank you very much for presenting that. Yeah, great, nice. But questions?
Thanks a lot, Reese. It is a very good thing to have from you.
Yeah, one of the things I often mention whenever anybody defines competency, in England, the only real definition that's defined and documented for competency is in the IRR regulations, electrical regulations. And then I was at a conference somewhere. The presentation wasn't as detailed and informative as you, but they always say that the competency is some form of academic qualifications and experience to undertake a given task. And it was an airline pilot that was doing the talk. And he said, what we often miss out on competency is that a competent person will identify his limitations and know when to stop and go and retrain himself or relearn himself, etc. And I've seen that as an accident, as an HSE practitioner. Sometimes, yes, we can provide training. Sometimes these guys are very qualified, but they're put in such a position where they have to breach their limitations. They're not sure on what they should be doing. And that's where I see that added additional parameter with competency is that one needs to understand what he does know and what he doesn't know. And sometimes they miss that opportunity. There, that's my input.
Thanks a lot, Vish. Once again, actually, I did a lot of research, went on reading different standards, different requirements. There are a lot of documents I myself made because I couldn't fit everything within the presentation. I made almost 3 presentations. And then I made many documents also. I couldn't present.
Yeah, there's a lot of reference documents to competency requirements, competent individuals. Apart from the ISO standards that defines competency in legislation, it's more suitable and sufficient, adequate skills, etc. But that's why I love those dashboards that you presented as well. I think I'm going to update my PowerPoint presentation skills. But no, as I said, a very good, informative presentation. I think we all found it very informative.
It makes me immense pleasure, gets that it is coming from Reese, whom I consider my mentor also. So thanks a lot, Reese, for your compliment.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Keep it up.
Yes, thanks. a lot.
And your comment about public speaking. Public speaking is one of the most difficult things that we have to do. And I think sometimes as safety practitioners, we need to push ourselves. And I remember doing my first speech at Erzum on hand-arm vibration. I know the subject very well. I know the topic. I'm qualified to speak on it, but standing in the front of an audience, it's nerve-wracking, whether they're your friends or not. And I think if anybody in this group gets the opportunity to do public speaking or deliver presentations, then you should take up that challenge and push yourself. Otherwise, you're never going to get there, and it gives you confidence as well.
Each step. Good. In each step you do one time at a one, you might make mistakes, but that shouldn't stop you.
That's how you learn. I used to practice in front of a mirror, to be honest. But anyway, as I said, thank you very much. Great presentation. Then, as I said, I'm going to watch it again, listen to it again.
Sure.
Quiet.
Thanks. Any questions, anybody?
There is no questions, I think. Anyway, the recording will be available in IRSM website and even in IRSM YouTube channel. So it will be shared over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Rock. Thanks a lot for your valuable time. It was a really nice presentation and really helpful. A lot of things we gone through today. And yes, I hope each one of the members who attend the session has gained knowledge about the topic very well. And any more questions? CPD certificate, yeah, okay. I will look into it, how we are going to do that, because earlier the platform has been given by IRSM directly, and from there the certificate used to create. But unfortunately, we pulled forward our section to this week. So we facilitated this section. So I will check with them. And if yes, if the CPD certificates we are issuing means, we will let you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes. Thank you, Rock. Thanks again, once again.
Yeah.
And yes, see you all. Welcome back, Reese.
No, you're welcome. I'm in
Yes.
Saudi at the